Welcome to another special edition of Rock It Up. I'm your host, Darren Flower, and today we're going to be talking about live promoting. And we've got some very special guests. We have Brad Sumac and we have Mike Rigby, and they're going to be talking all about the ins and outs about promoting. So stay tuned because we have a special episode ahead of us. Okay? Rock it up. This is Rock It Up right now, and this is the realest conversation we're going to have, okay? So this is especially for the young musicians who need to learn how to book shows properly and the ins and outs, the logistics about playing shows, okay? And I don't have any better guests other than you, Brad Sumac, Mike Rigby, okay? Thank you, first of all, for doing this show. It's really important that you guys are here because we need to educate people who just don't know any better about, playing shows and how to book shows and the logistics about it, okay? So let's get into it, okay? First of all, why, Brad, did you get into this business?
I've been a musician for as long as I can remember, and I just kind of fell ass backwards into it, to be honest.
Okay, like how did that happen?
Just from, playing gigs and, helping out friends, booking shows, and, just helping set shit up here and there. And I started working for Mike years and years ago, and he owned a bar called the Red Rooster, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, I was the lead talent buyer for the club, and
okay. So, okay, in your younger days, okay, and to clarify, you're plenty young, but in your younger days, you're at least 25 years old, okay?
I appreciate that.
But in your younger days, you said if you're helping out, your friends booking shows. What does that mean? Like, what exactly?
Well, like I said, I started my first punk band in the early '90s, so I've been around a long time. Back when, back in those days at least, everything was DIY. It was all do it yourself. You find a local church with a basement that'll let you rent it, and hopefully you can convince all your idiot friends not to trash the place, which didn't work often.
No.
But, everyone helps each other out. You saw a band that you liked, you want to set up a gig, so you go to the YMCA.
So, like, helping your friends, okay, your buddy has a band called the Punktastics or whatever they're called, and you, just being a friend/fan, Fran, if you no Fran Drescher, references here. But, okay, you're a friend, and what would you do? You would just call up the YMCA, Legion Hall, that, and...
Yeah, rec centers, church, like I said.
Why would you do that? You just had, you just had it in you to do this? Like, why would you...
No, because we wanted the gig. We wanted to play.
Okay, but were you in the band at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you were in a band, but you also felt, inclined to go about doing this and be proactive.
Well, yeah, if we're going to play, we might as well bring in a band that we're going to enjoy watching.
Okay.
And hopefully their friends will enjoy watching us, and one thing kind of snowballs.
So in your teams, you kind of had that business sense in you already.
Not really. It was more selfish. I just wanted people there when my band played. And these were the other bands that I wanted to see and play with.
Okay, but unwittingly you developed a strong business sense then, right?
Yep.
Okay, then years later, then you ended up working with Mike with the Red Rooster, which is unfortunately...
Well, but even before that, I was booking bands at another local pool hall in Burlington, and that's kind of how I started to learn the ins and outs of the business. But it wasn't until Mike and I teamed up that we really started to take it as seriously as we do now, and started working with some of the bigger bands and bigger artists that we've been fortunate enough to work with over the years.
Okay, so now, this show is for the benefit of the young musicians who have yet to play their first show, or the casual music enthusiasts who just don't know any better. Bless their hearts, okay?
Absolutely.
So let's get into this, okay? So we're talking to bands that are booking shows here, okay? And how do they go about playing the right shows, first of all?
They go about playing the right shows.
The right shows, as opposed to playing the wrong shows, which are like, pool halls this, Johnny's Burger Joint that.
But those aren't necessarily bad shows.
Yeah, those aren't necessarily bad shows.
Okay, why?
Because, really when it comes down to it, any show that you can get people out to come and see you at is a good show.
Okay. Now, just for the record, I'm going to be polite about this. I disagree. However, I respect your opinion. So go on.
I'm going to be polite as well. You're wrong.
Okay.
No,
I'm going to be polite about it. I'm right, but
I'm totally kidding.
Okay, carry on.
Go ahead.
I think one of the biggest problems and one of the keys is a lot of bands you'll find, and the problem with playing pool halls and things like that is a lot of bands will oversaturate themselves in a market. So that
What-
they're
what does
playing.
that mean? What does that mean?
It means they're playing the pool hall Thursday. They're playing this place on Friday.
In the
They're
same
playing
city.
all in the same city.
Okay, which
well,
we'll touch upon a little bit later on and get into detail.
and
But go on.
the more often you're playing in the same local area, the less people you're gonna
Right.
have come and see you.
Okay, and some people
because
don't
your friends
understand
are gonna go, and they don't understand
They don't,
because your
which is-
friends are gonna say, well, I can go see them tonight, or I can go do this tonight, and I can go see them on
I don't
Saturday
need to see
instead.
Johnny play tonight because I know he's going to be back there on Thursday.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
I miss that, well, he'll be back there on Monday. So,
Yep.
I'll go watch the next X-Men 5 movie or something.
Well, exactly. But going back to the previous comment was playing burger joints and wing joints and pool halls. It's not necessarily a bad idea because
Why?
more often than not, when you're playing kind of like the pool hall dive, it's in a small town that you're not familiar with. These kids have nothing else to do on a Friday night, so they find out. Okay, well, there's a band playing at
Well,
Joe's.
perhaps you're
Pool
playing
hall.
Coburg, Ontario.
Coburg's a prime example. We got lots of friends that we've worked with from Coburg.
Oh, there you have
Right?
it.
Dive. There's nothing else to do on a Friday night. So what are
Right.
these kids going to do? They want to go out. They want to tie one on. They're going to go see a show. Doesn't matter who's playing. Whereas if you're in a city like Toronto, Hamilton, even Windsor, there's so many different clubs. There's so much going on. There's so much competition. So how do you pick what show you're going to go see? You're sure as hell not going to go see a band that you've never heard of. You live in a small town. You got nothing else to do.
Okay.
So when you're starting off playing those smaller rooms, that's my personal opinion. That's the way to go.
Okay.
That's where you're gonna sell your T-shirts. That's where you're gonna sell your CDs. That's where you're gonna make a name for yourself.
Well, first of all, I'm having the best time already just talking about this. I know this is going just great. This is a great interview already. It's like a 2-minute mark here. Okay, so here's a hypothetical situation, okay? 19-year-old band, they're pretty good, and they're trying to, hit the big time. They're trying to do it, man, and they want to go about, building a career. You, as a live promoter, what kind of advice do you have for them? How do they go about doing this?
Tour, but tour and be realistic about things. Just because you want to make it and you're getting a little bit of interest and you're selling out rooms in your hometown doesn't mean you're worth a lot of money.
In your hometown, because maybe you concentrated in that one specific area because you know everybody in that area. So that's great if you're in Windsor, Burlington, Mississauga, whatever it is, and you have that one area, locked down. Now that's just that one area.
Well, exactly.
Now,
if you get paid $100 for a gig in your hometown, doesn't mean you're going to get paid $100 a gig
Well, and let's talk
when
about
you're 4
this.
hours away.
Okay, so you're basically Burlington, Hamilton based, right?
Yeah, give or take, yeah.
Okay, so a band that can pack their hometown gig in Mississauga and play, get paid $200. Well, they're not gonna, unless they have a fan base in Burlington, Hamilton, they're not gonna get that kind of money, right?
They still ask for it, though.
They still ask for it.
No,
okay.
no, not every band.
Not
Okay,
every band.
but
But
some
we should-
bands
we should-
do. But some bands do, and why do you think they do it?
Unnecessary false sense of entitlement?
Ego,
Yeah.
Sometimes.
most likely. Okay,
Yeah.
so what do you tell them when they ask for these inflated prices? Because
No.
hold on, just to clarify this.
I
Now,
tell them no.
well, and that's the thing too. Okay, no, and here's the reason why. Okay, because I had a conversation with a promoter from Hamilton, which I won't mention his name, but he's very well known, and I know you guys know who he is.
Yeah,
And
I'm
I asked
sure
him
we
for
do.
$400 to play this show, and he's like, "I'd love to pay you this money, except for the fact that how many people can you bring in?" And I told him, "I don't know, like 5 or 6." He's like, "Well, that's not going to be able to cover the guarantee that you're asking for. So unless you can bring 100 people in at $5 a head, maybe they will talk about this kind of money." So when it comes down to it, there's a lot of bands that ask for these ridiculous prices, but they don't have the fan base to back up this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I think a lot of bands and a lot of artists don't understand it. I hate to use the cliche, but money doesn't grow on trees.
No.
I mean,
Well, technically it
But
does
when
because it is paper.
Yeah.
So if you want to get into
Well,
It's
the...
actually linen.
if you want to be
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it's the music business for a reason, right?
It's not called the friendship business.
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
It's
Unfortunately,
it's a
I
business.
wish it was.
And when it comes down to it, that money to pay you has got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Otherwise, it comes
And-
out of someone's pocket.
And chances are, I'm not that excited about your band for me to pay you $400 to play for me.
Okay.
It's not, you know what I mean? I'm not that interested in it.
Right. And to tell you the truth, I mean, good, bad, ugly, I mean, if there was a really great band that you thought it was amazing, but you knew that they were going to bring out like 5 people, except for the girlfriends who are on their guest list, okay? Yep. They're not, in your eyes, worth $400 or $500, are they? Or are they?
It depends, because we've had this conversation before.
It's a philosophical
thing. And we've even fought over this issue before.
Right.
So.
And I'll fight you right now. We'll go have a fist fight right now.
For me, it's not even an issue of, a philosophical... It's a sanity issue for me. Every once in a while, I've got to bring in a band that I really like and that I really enjoy. It doesn't matter how much they cost. Just to keep my sanity, rather than the same different even like bands that are drawing tons of people, but I personally don't like. Every once in a while, I've got to do something for me too.
Right, of course, and that's the thing too. I guess as a live show promoter, there's some things where you just gotta just go with the flow, even if you don't particularly enjoy it, you hate it, but you know that it's going to draw people and bring people up to the show. I guess it's a smart business decision, and you have to, think about the wallet as opposed to your heart, right?
Yeah. Well, it's fundamentally, as a business person, it's our job as a promoter is the same job as the musicians. Is when it comes down to the bottom line, our job is to sell beer.
Right.
All right. So we have to we're as concerned about as getting as many people as possible in, as a band should be. Because obviously, the more people a band's bringing in, the more they're going to be able to charge.
Right.
And the more they're going to get paid.
Okay.
Because the more beer they're selling.
And you know what? That makes sense to me. And I'm hoping that the people who are watching this, it really clicks with them and they get an understanding of how it really works. Because the unfortunate, thing about this is that a lot of young kids, who have a pocket full of dreams, and bless their heart, they don't understand business, numbers, logistics. And this is what it is. And you're hearing it from the source right here on Rocket Up TV.
But again, there you go. Again, though, one of the biggest issues that I've encountered over the years is just people just not being realistic. But
why are they not realistic? Is it because they just don't know any better? They're not.
Sometimes it's because they don't know any better.
Yes.
Sometimes it's because
delusions of grandeur.
They may have friends in other bands that are doing really well that are making X amount per gig. So, I'm not trying to date myself, and I'm not trying to talk about the old school, but I came from a time where you just played. We never cared if we got paid, ever. Never cared.
Right.
Nowadays, 4 kids get together in their mom's basement. They start a band. They write a couple of tunes. They learn a couple of covers. Cool. Oh, they book a gig. Awesome. We got a gig. How much are we getting paid? It's your first gig.
Right.
Why am I paying you?
Right.
But I'm not to say that they don't deserve to get paid. But what makes you think you deserve to get paid?
Right.
That's my issue.
Well, and that's the thing too. I think there's a lot of bands out there that don't understand, money and numbers and stuff like that. So, I don't even know if a lot of young bands even think about that. They're just so enthused to play a show that I don't think they, care. But I guess when you get older, they think about this kind of stuff.
But again, once you're older, you've been doing it long enough, and
yeah.
there is a chance that you've cut your teeth.
And hopefully you have, and hopefully you've gained some sort of knowledge.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a small break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to dive right back into this because this is interesting as hell. Okay?
Right.
So we're here to rock it up.
Rock It Up would not be possible without the help from our sponsors, like CFRE Radio. For more information, please visit cfreradio.com. Sherwood Mortgage Group. Longtime friends serving longtime customers. Call Chris D'Souza at 416-884-2984. Loretta and Sherilyn Flower at Remax Realty Enterprises. For more information, please visit flowerteamrealestate.com or call 905-822-2200. Nude Buddha Tattoo Studio, located at 42 Bronte Street South, Milton, Ontario. Call 905-203-0737 or visit nudebuddhatattoo.com. Mississauga Arts Council. Connect, create, engage, support. Find them at mississaugaartscouncil.com or on Facebook and Twitter under Miss Arts Council.
Okay, we're back on Rock It Up TV, and we have special guests Brad Sumac and Mike Rigby, and we're talking all about live promoting. Okay, so where did we leave off? We were talking about bands and their entitlement, and they think they're going to get paid all this money for bringing out 0 people except for their girlfriends for shows. I think that's where we last left off.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, and I think we talked a little bit about that in logistics. Okay, so let's talk about some of the sleaziness that's involved in promoting shows. Now, without mentioning any names, because I'm not here to run anybody down. Okay, or at least not on camera. Okay, but without mentioning any names, there are some promoters out there that are basically preying on the innocent, and they're there just for the money. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, this is a business, but, at the same time, too, you should have some integrity. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, without mentioning names, let's talk a little bit about their business formula. Mike?
Oh, I assume you're talking about the pay-for-play kind of stuff.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. And to clarify, for the people who just don't know any better, let's elaborate on this.
Pay-for-play is basically the concept that a company will bring in a whole bunch of young bands, usually teenage bands just starting up, that sort of thing.
Who are not capable of booking a show themselves. Yeah, because they're too
exactly.
young.
They don't have any contacts in the industry or anything like that.
Sidebar.
They'll bring these guys in. They'll basically set up a sort of a battle of the bands kind of deal.
Careful. That's a trademark.
That's a trademark.
Sorry.
They'll set up a battle of the bands kind of deal, and they'll basically offer some sort of half-ass prizes.
Free studio time. 8 hours at like a basement studio.
Yeah, exactly.
And bands don't realize that it takes a full day just to get drum tones.
It takes 5 hours to do that at least. Okay. Anyways,
and then what they'll do is they'll give these bands a whole bunch of tickets to sell to their friends, make them push
at $15-$20
at a ridiculously high ticket price.
Yeah, okay.
All of that money goes straight to the company. The bands never see a single thing. Basically, in their battle of the bands, their position in the lineup depends on how many tickets they sold. So the more tickets you sell, the later in the evening you get to play, closer to the end you get to play, closer to the headliner you get to play, that sort of thing. And basically,
they typically take place at a very well-known, very well-established venue.
So it has some sort of credibility.
On a Sunday from noon until 9 p.m.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a million bands.
And there's 30 bands playing.
And that's the thing too. But it's kind of sad because when you're a 14-year-old, when you're a 14-year-old band, and you're playing because you just love it. Music is in your heart. I get it. 'Cause, we were all there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why companies like this continue to exist.
Exactly.
Because there will never be a shortage of young, naive musicians that don't.
There is some kid right now who's just turned 14 today and is thinking about booking his first show ever, right? And that's part of the problem because they have nowhere else to go. So unfortunately for them, and they haven't figured it out yet. Okay. There's these companies there that will help them play their first show, but they're not thinking about logistics. All they just want to do is just get out there and just do it with their heart, which is, bless their heart. God bless them because I admire that because they're doing it for the right reasons.
Everyone starts somewhere.
You have to start somewhere.
You just got to be careful who you attach your name to.
And it actually might be a good idea to, go with these, shady promotions so you can get smart to the industry, at least at a somewhat early age. Like I played a couple of shows for these companies. And I was like 16 years old, and I figured to myself, this might not be the best thing to do. No, I was probably at least 22. I'd say I was a little bit older when I got smart.
And a lot of bands are. I mean, they don't just prey on teenagers.
Teenagers are the best because their social circles are so large. You're in high school. You're constantly seeing 200 people a day and interacting with them. And back in the day, because we were roughly around the same age group, 22 years old. But, a little bit older than that, but we didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Instagram, MySpace, No,
back in the day, you pounded the pavement, you flyered.
You flyered.
You flyered.
What an antiquated notion.
People don't do that anymore, and it still works.
Does it?
It still works. 100% it works. You can put all the free ads in free, rock and roll magazines, which again I probably shouldn't mention any names, but you can put the free ads in and all you want in the free listings, anything else. You can invite 45,000 people on Facebook. That doesn't matter. You got to get out there. You got to do the legwork, and a lot of bands don't realize that.
Right, and that's the thing too. And you know what? I used to be one of those kids, you know, a young man, and just thought that like my job was to write songs without, you know, and I wasn't prepared to put in the legwork.
That is your job.
It is my job, but I didn't realize that at the time. That is one of the many different tasks that I need to perform as an independent musician trying to make a living in Ontario.
I mean, basically, sort of what it comes down to is your song work, is your product.
That is probably the most important task that I have to do because it starts with the music, but it doesn't stop.
Exactly.
No.
You've got to have a product to sell, but you still have to sell that product.
You still have to sell it, right.
Right?
Exactly.
Like, McDonald's makes a decent hamburger.
They still have to make commercials.
But they still have to make commercials to sell
market
it, right?
That, right? Yeah.
Or no one would be eating it. They'd be eating somewhere else, right?
Right.
And I think one of the biggest misconceptions these days is simply the term or the name promoter. Yeah, that's our job. Absolutely. That is our job.
So, and that's
the difference is, though, I don't know your friends. I don't know your fans. I can't tell them where you're playing. That's your job.
So
I can tell the people we know how great your band is, and it's up to them whether or not they decide that they want to come check it out. But you got to tell your friends. I can't.
So do you think the onus to promote a show is kind of like 50-50, where it's like you as a promoter need to put in ads in local magazines and stuff like that, as well as these bands to, like, you know, do social media, to put up flyers?
Absolutely.
Is it kind of like a 50-50 thing, or is it a little more
100%.
lopsided?
Because the thing is, we're promoting, but my job isn't to promote your band. My job is to promote the show that's happening at whatever venue it is that I'm hosting.
Which might host, you know, said band and 2 other bands on the venue.
Exactly.
Hopefully not 20 other bands.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think it's very, very, very important for young artists and young musicians to understand what a promoter is and what a promoter's job is.
And, you know, it's great to be, you know, a very competent musician, very skilled, and, you know, a great songwriter. But at the same time, you need to have that drive to make it happen.
Absolutely.
Right?
It's like the music. It's like everything else. You get hired to dig a ditch. You don't produce. You don't get paid. Same with the music industry.
It makes sense.
You got to produce.
Absolutely.
You know, just like any other business. The only difference is the music industry is the dumbest business on the planet to get into.
Well, that's great for little kids to understand.
Hey, it's a slap in the face with reality.
Well, you know what? I think, you know, young children who have dreams about being a musician, nothing wrong with that. I was there too, and you were too as well too.
Every little kid that ever strapped on a guitar did so because they wanted to be a rock star.
Everybody who's played a guitar at a young age probably dreamt about like selling out arena at one point, even just fantasized about it briefly.
Mike and I are fortunate enough to know several, I guess, people that could be considered rock stars.
Yeah.
And they cut their teeth, man. They paid their dues. It was, you know, blood, sweat, and tears for 10, 12, 15 years before they saw.
I think it's
any
even
kind
worse
of
now
success.
than it ever was. With things like American Idol and that kind of stuff, where it's all of a sudden instant fame.
Yeah.
And the kids think they're going to throw on a guitar and be famous.
Or put up a YouTube video and like 1 million people are going to watch it like that second.
Yeah.
Like it goes up and stuff like that. Yeah. And you know what? To tell you the truth, the record contract fairy that I've been searching for the last 15 years can go out there, wave her magical wand, and make it happen. That does happen. But the reality of the situation is that it rarely does happen.
There's a recently big band that's come out of Burlington.
Which we don't need to talk about, but I know who you're talking about. And they play ukuleles and 5 guitars on...
Exactly.
And 5 guys on the guitar,
But they're a band who, they all of a sudden just hit boom.
Right.
But everyone looks at them and goes, okay, these guys, they got super lucky, they're an overnight sensation, super lucky, they're suddenly famous.
Yes and no.
But they ignore the fact that these guys have been working at this for 15, 20 years
I went to high school with a couple of them.
I know who you're talking about.
And trust me, I can think of no band that deserved it more than those guys.
Right.
I've never seen such a hard-working group of guys that stuck together through all of the bullshit that this business can throw at you.
Yep.
And persevered, and look at them now.
Now, here's the thing. I can politely debate that with you.
If any of the guys are watching this, by the way, good for you guys.
Yeah. I can politely debate this with you. I'm not going to, but I understand where you're coming from, because as far as their work ethic and as far as their creative business decisions, I agree that, you know, they deserve to be where they're at. This certain band, which we won't mention. And I have different thoughts and opinions about that, which we'll talk off camera, perhaps, on another date. But, you know, at the very least, they have made some very smart business decisions to get to where they got to.
Which is part of the business, though. It's all part of the game.
It's the music business. Mm-hmm. It is not the music friendship.
Yeah.
It's not the friendship
mean,
business.
Let's face it. In this day and age, in the business that is rock and roll, you don't even have to be talented to make it anymore.
Unfortunately,
you don't even have to be good.
No. But, I mean, I think that was the way it's always been. There's always been artists, for lack of a better term, that have always kind of been all smoke and mirrors and just fabricated, especially with the technology to make you sing like Mariah Carey by Pro Tools or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, but gimmicks have been around forever. Gimmicks will always help. I mean, and I'm a self-proclaimed massive Kiss fan, as embarrassing as it can be.
They had the musicianship, but they had the gimmick.
To a point. The gimmick was what sold the
gimmick,
product.
The face paint.
I mean, again, huge Kiss fan. Kiss fan. But let's face facts. They suck.
Okay,
they do.
Yeah, I guess
it was the gimmick that sold the product.
Sure.
So the gimmick was so impressive and sold the product so well that growing up as a kid, I legitimately thought that Ace Frehley was the end-all, be-all lead guitar player.
Right.
No. No, he's not.
I guess not.
But I'll fight anyone else that says that.
But you know what? Whether
That's
they're
gimmick.
that great of musicians, it's irrelevant because what got them, or a big part of their success lies within their image. You know what I mean? And they were able to stand out from the Ted Nugents of the day, from the Steppenwolfs, from the Led Zeppelins, even, who were great musicians, songwriters, whatever. But the thing with Kiss is that they had, a gimmick. It was a smart business decision.
No, you're totally right.
Absolutely.
But I mean, image is still important this day and age.
It is.
I mean, even as talent buyers and promoters, if we've booked you, when you walk into the venue, I want to be able to look over and say, hey, those guys are a band.
Yeah.
That's a band.
Not one guy looking like he's should be on a skateboard. One guy looks like he should be in a rap video.
Mm-hmm.
One guy
but it's not even
should be working retail.
It's not even an important factor when it comes to us. It's important when it comes to record companies, and management companies.
Agreed.
You need to brand yourself. Branding is very, very important this day and age. Some would say, myself included, a little too important, but it is very important these days.
So when you're booking bands, will you book anybody and everybody? Will you give a shot to anybody who wants to play and give them that, or is there certain criteria that you have to go by? Business philosophy. I can see the wheels in your head turning.
Really, I'd prefer not to book a band that's gonna essentially show up in my ears for 35 minutes.
Meaning?
It's a balancing act. We need to balance between... Basically, we need to balance between talent and sales.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Because it's great if that band brings 150 people to your room. That's fantastic. But if they're absolutely terrible...
It does happen.
No one else who was there that night is going to come back again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
because they'll go, oh, that's the room that booked that really band we heard.
Yeah, and that kind of business philosophy, and I know there's a certain promoters that subscribe to it, is a very short-term way of thinking. Okay, well, that's been a very interesting episode of Rock It Up. I'm sure a lot of people who watch this got a chance to take something from this. So I just want to say thanks a lot, Brad.
Anytime,
thanks a lot, Mike, for doing this. I really appreciate this. And thanks for rocking it up.
Rock It Up would not be possible without the help from our sponsors, like CFRE Radio. For more information, please visit cfreradio.com. Sherwood Mortgage Group. Longtime friends serving longtime customers. Call Chris D'Souza at 416-884-2984. Loretta and Sherilyn Flower at Remax Realty Enterprises. For more information, please visit flowerteamrealestate.com or call 905-822-2200. Nude Buddha Tattoo Studio, located at 42 Bronte Street South, Milton, Ontario. Call 905-203-0737 or visit nudebuddhatattoo.com. Mississauga Arts Council. Connect, create, engage, support. Find them at mississaugaartscouncil.com or on Facebook and Twitter under Miss Arts Council.